When I was a kid, I learnt how to make Kievs by watching my dad in the kitchen of his pub. So I've asked him over to help me show you how to do my version of this 80s classic.
Me and my dad, we're going to cook it up. We love chicken Kiev. When I was about 5 or 6, I remember you making hundreds of these a week in the pub.
You used to help me.
Customers went crazy for it. We're bringing it back, we're giving it love, but also we're putting a few little twists on it as well. And I think actually, before we even get onto the chicken, it's all about the garlic butter, which is a brilliant thing to learn. Dad taught me how to do it back in the day, but I want to take it on to the next level. My little twist at the beginning is smoked bacon. And as you know, in life, if you want it to get a little bit better, a bit of smoked bacon does that.
Fry 6 rashers on a medium heat until they turn crisp. The bacon will add a wonderful smoky flavour to the garlic butter.
I love the smell of bacon.
And will give my chicken Kievs a surprise crunch in the middle.
So Dad, you like to chop some parsley for me?
Yeah, sure.
Whenever you're making garlic butter, I think it's always worth doing a big batch and freezing any that you don't use. So I'm making this with 2 whole packs of butter. Chop up half a bunch of parsley and as much garlic as you fancy. I'm using a whole bulb.
Dad, can I just borrow that knife for a second? We're sharing, it's like the old times, sharing. I'll take this end off. What's beautiful, if you get the chance to grow some garlic, please have a go, because actually, if I just take that off, I think people don't realise that when you grow your own garlic, you don't just get that kind of dried up bit like this, you get this whole bit. So actually, I'm just going to finely slice this part here. Shall I jump on this? I might as well while I'm here. So Dad, if you can just turn that bacon for me. One of the things I'm going to do just to lighten it is a lovely unwaxed lemon. Just a little rub of zest makes a phenomenal difference.
And lemon always lifts chicken anyway, doesn't it?
It really does. So parsley and garlic goes in. I've got another little tweak, cayenne pepper. And cayenne pepper was really popular in the 80s, wasn't it?
Yes.
We used to put it on prawn cocktails and all those.
Cocktails, egg mayonnaise, that type of thing.
Yeah. So a nice little pinch, just to give it a little kick up the backside.
Season, then get the bacon ready to go in too by chopping it up finely. Add the little crispy bits of bacon to your butter and then mash it all together.
This butter will be good on meat, fish.
Yeah, a nice steak, even a Sunday roast chicken. You could put some butter in
Under
between
the
the skin and the meat.
Brilliant, yeah.
And that would just give it a little twist.
Yeah.
Once the butter's combined, it's just got to be rolled up like a sausage.
So Dad, you show them how you showed me when I was like 8 years old.
Oh, what, the roll? Right, OK.
I used to like it because it reminded me of a Christmas cracker.
Yeah.
And then you get your old man to get one end,
And then you
and I get the other end.
And then you just sort of just shape it.
Pop that in the fridge for an hour, just to firm up. So look, I actually did one before Dad got here, and you can see, after all these years, pretty much the same. You taught me well, Dad.
This garlic butter's been chilling for a while, so it's ready for slicing.
Look into the heart of that butter. You can see all the herbs and the lovely bacon. It's a really nice flavoured butter.
You want 2 thin pieces for each Kiev.
Now I can roll this up, put it in the freezer for a year, 6 months, happy days.
Next, the chicken breasts.
The thing I'm pleased about is that you've left that little piece of bone on, because you finish your chicken and that's always lovely to nibble on at the end.
The nice meat is around the bone. And often if you buy the chicken breast from the butchers, they'll leave the bone on, and it's called a supreme. In the supermarket, they normally lob it off. It doesn't matter if you do one or the other, but like Dad said, it looks a bit more premium and you've got a bit more nibblage. So guys, let me show you how to do this chicken. Here we've got a breast. That is the kind of skin side facing up. So nice and shiny. What I want you to do is turn it on its back, like that. And when you do turn it on its back, you'll notice there's a little fillet here. So we're going to get that fillet, it's still attached, and we're just going to pull that back like that, okay? And then what we want to do is a little process to create a pocket. You'd get the tip of your knife, and you put it into the thick part of the breast, and you just run your knife down, and that is basically it. You can see I've just got the flavoured butter in my hand, and that pocket that I've made, I'm now going to jab that butter in So can you see what I've done there? I've covered it up, and then we go back over with the chicken and back over with the fillet, and then we can turn it over, and we've got plump, stuffed, gorgeous chicken breasts. 2 lovely breasts by 2 lovely boys. So look, the next stage, I'm not even going to tell Dad what to do. He knows what to do. And this is a preparation that we would have learnt at college called pané, which is a French preparation for breadcrumbing. So flour kind of will stick to the outside of any meat or fish. And then the second stage is the egg. A little bit of salt and pepper. Breadcrumbs as well. I wouldn't buy breadcrumbs, just use your old stale bread.
Yeah.
We're going to go in with the chicken breast and the flour. Then I will pass it to Dad, and he will do the egg. And often in kitchens, you'd have a line of chefs doing one part of it. You generally wouldn't do it all yourself, because if I go from flour to eggs to breadcrumbs, then you end up with panéed fingers. So then Dad will put it into that plate, but by the time he's done that, I've come around here and I do this. Just have a look at it, make sure there's no areas that haven't had their breadcrumbs stick to them, and then we're good to go. Thank you, Daddy. Okay, so cooking the chicken Kiev, you know, you can do it all in the oven. You can do it all in the deep fat fryer. Some people start them in a pan, like I'm going to, and then finish it in the oven. That way you get a really nice crumb and also a nice bake as well, which is good. So I'm gonna just grab a little sunflower oil. I'm gonna put it in my bacon pan. So we're shallow frying, basically. What I do, just to get a gauge on how hot it is, just take a piece of rosemary. When that starts to fry, you get a nice knowledge that it's kind of that frying temperature. So we'll just keep our ears open for that, and it will flavour the oil as well.
To go with my chicken, there's nothing I like more than a bit of mash, made with Maris Piper potatoes. But this time I'm adding an extra ingredient.
Broccoli. Broccoli mashed potato. Delicious, beautiful colour. It really works well with chicken. Now here I've got a pan of boiling water. I'm going to chuck these potatoes in, take these little florets off, the flowers, and this. So many times chefs and people at home throw this away. Take the stalk off, slice it up into chunks, put those in with the potatoes, and we'll boil these for about sort of 10 minutes. And then for the last 5 minutes, then I go in with this, and that'll keep its colour, because the flowers don't take as long to cook as the stalks.
I'm now ready for the first stage of cooking my chicken.
So as you can see, our little bit of rosemary in here has told us the oil's ready and raring to go. I'm going to go that shiny side of the breast down first, because that's our presentation side. Always put stuff in oil and just plop it away from you. So I'm just going to fry that for literally 2 minutes on each side. Let's have a look at this chicken. I've got a good vibe about this. Oh! So look, we've got some nice colour on this chicken. The chicken's about half cooked. It'll go in the oven now for about 10 minutes at 180 degrees Celsius, which is 350 Fahrenheit. It's a perfect time now to go in with the florets.
When the potatoes and broccoli are cooked, drain and leave them to steam dry. Then add a knob of butter and get mashing.
You get a wonderful colour out of the broccoli. I'll have a little taste. Season it nicely. So Dad, if you may, grab that tea towel and bring out the Kiev.
Here we go.
Let's have a little look. This one's exploded, this one hasn't. The smell is phenomenal. So what I'll do, Dad, I'll show you how I like to serve it up. A nice big pile of this gorgeous broccoli and potato mash. And I'm just gonna make a rough old pile of that. We might have to do a bit of running tonight, though. Oh, look at,
Look at that.
oh, yes. I quite like a little simple spinach salad with this. And just lemon juice on there, so it's got real cut and attack.
Also, the lemon will lift the chicken.
Oh, it really, really will. You know, a few bits in and around like this. A little wedge of lemon just to squeeze on top.
I love the simplicity of it. There it is.
Gorgeous. And that, my friends, is a great, great pub classic. Okay, Dave, we've got that really hard bit to do now.
The bit that I've been looking forward to.
Should we go outside and eat it?
Yeah, let's. Ah.
So good.
It's really good.
You get the crunch of the crunch on the outside, and then you get the crunch on the inside again.
Yeah, I like the bacon in there. And the lemon is coming through. You even beat me at my own dishes.
I'm not sure. I've got the bone I can have a little gnaw on.
Go on. I'm keeping that for last.
Will you put this on the specials board, Dad?
I will. I'm going back to do it now.
Are you? So it all starts with 16 boneless, skin-on chicken thighs. You might have to go to your butcher's for it because we really want the skin on for this. The bone definitely out. We don't want that because it's going to be a kebab. We're going to carve into it. And beautiful free-range chicken for sure. And then look down here, guys. We want a specific quantity of beautiful spices. And this is what the Turkish are so clever at, layering those flavours.
First, you want to make a spicy paste that will give your chicken brilliant flavour. Heat a dry frying pan, then put in 10 or so cardamom pods, and about a teaspoon each of cumin seeds, coriander seeds, and fennel seeds.
Just waking up the flavours, getting them toasty.
Add a pinch of salt and pepper, and a level teaspoon each of allspice, cinnamon, cloves, and sweet smoked paprika. Toast the spices for 2 minutes until they start to smoke.
The smells are incredible. And then into a pestle and mortar. If you do want to peel your cardamom seeds, once they're cracked, see those little black seeds? You can just push those out. There's something quite fantastic and exciting about spices. Some of the old recipes would try and have as many spices in there as possible to sort of show off and sort of bling up, basically. I want 4 bay leaves here, and then 8 cloves of garlic. Just finely slice it. This bashed up paste here is the basis of all the kind of enjoyment and flavour of this whole dish. This is where it all starts. So we want to bind that, and we want to create a marinade. So we're going to use 4 heaped tablespoons of Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt's great because it's nice and thick and it clings to the meat. Also, yogurt is a fantastic tenderizer. A little splash of oil, and then an interesting ingredient, peanut butter, and that will give an incredible kind of grunt to the flavour. I mean, just a real backbone of all those spices. And it works really well, and it tastes phenomenal. I'm gonna go in with all of this marinade. This is time to get your hands in. A nice little massage up. And I'm really pushing the flavour into that meat.
To build your kebab, regular metal skewers will work just fine. But I want to make one massive shawarma, so I'm going to use a rotisserie.
Whether it's a little skewer or a big skewer, the principles are all the same. I'm going to start with a lemon. We're going to go onto here. We've got a spike at this end, straight through, and that is kind of like a bookend. It keeps it all nice and tight. The next thing I'm going to do is a little tomato. It will just melt and disintegrate over the cooking time.
Fold the chicken thighs as you stick them onto your spike. Just layer them up with chunks of onion and red pepper in between. And push it all down nice and tight.
For me, the whole purpose of doing this is because we know we like kebabs, but to take ownership back of knowing all the ingredients the love, the care, the spices. You know, it's taking something street culture and making it artisanal again.
The chicken will need to marinate in the fridge for a good few hours, ideally overnight. If you've not got much space, do it before you skewer it up. Now I'm going to make the dough for the flatbreads to go with my chicken.
We want a nice flatbread with little lumps and bubbles all over, and that's going to be the perfect kind of edible plate for our lovely charred chicken and our tabbouleh and our amber and our hummus and all the pickles. It's going to be super, super good. So for this recipe, 1 kilo of flour is what you need, but I'm blending white flour with whole grain flour, and that's going to give it that lovely kind of richness of flavour.
Add 2 tablespoons of sesame seeds, a pinch of salt and a teaspoon of baking powder to the flour, and bring it all together with 550 ml of cold water.
Have a nice little knead up here. You want to get it elastic so that the bread has structure, and then when it hits the direct heat, it kind of stretches but holds that gas, that air.
Knead the dough for 2 or 3 minutes until really smooth, then cover it with a damp cloth.
Keep it nice and cosy. It'll stay there easily for 4 or 5 hours. Happy as Larry. When it comes to cooking time, have it there next to you, cut a bit off, roll it out onto a cake rack over the lovely cinders of coal, and you'll have the most incredible homemade flatbread.
Next, some hummus.
We buy a lot of hummus from the supermarket in the little tubs. It's very generic these days. Making your own is another level. It's incredible flavour. We're going to get a jar of nice chickpeas. Look at the size of those, fat, buttery ones. So pour that in with their juice. We want a pinch of cumin, 2 tablespoons of tahini. Tahini is basically a sesame seed paste. It's kind of like peanut butter. If you haven't got it, use peanut butter, no problem at all. Go in with a pinch of sea salt. We're then going to hit up a nice unwaxed lemon, cut that in half and squeeze that in. And then some lovely olive oil. Gonna make it silky and shiny and gorgeous. And then a little garlic, just 1 clove will do. There you go, whiz it up. So it only takes a minute to make. You can add a little water if it's too thick, but you want it to be really shiny. And I want it to be loose, because I'm almost gonna use it to butter those beautiful flatbreads. There you go. Silken hummus. You can just have some toasted cumin. You can just sprinkle on the top. Little olive oil on top. Job's a good one.
To create even more bursts of flavour on my flatbread, I'm also going to make a spicy amber sauce.
Now, if you haven't had it before, this is an incredible condiment. Think kind of mint sauce with roast lamb. It's a mango-based sauce that's fantastic with grilled meats, wonderful with eggs, really, really good, of course, with chicken shawarma. That's why we're doing it.
Add to a pan about half a teaspoon each of fenugreek, mustard seeds, sweet smoked paprika, cayenne pepper, and turmeric. Then, in the same pan, gently fry some sliced garlic, keeping it separate initially. But when softened, combining it with the toasted spices.
So essentially what we've made there is kind of like a flavoured temper that you'd have in India. You know, we've got all those fragrances and all those spices doing nice things there. And I'm just going to turn that temperature off.
Peel and de-stone 2 ripe mangoes and give them a whiz with the juice of 2 limes. Then add the mango to the spices.
It's a condiment, so it's got to kind of cut through with the richness of the chicken and the fat, and it's just kind of got to do that beautiful thing like lemon on smoked salmon or apple sauce with roast pork. I'm going to put this in a nice dish now, and I'll put that in the fridge. And it's that refreshing part to go with the lovely, hot, gnarly carved meat. So there you go, the gorgeous and very unusual amber sauce. My way, that's going to be amazing with the chicken.
With my sauce, hummus and dough all done, I'm ready for the exciting bit. the grilling over an open fire of my great big chicken kebab.
Come on, look at that. That's been in the fridge, marinating a treat. Gorgeous. I want the rendered fat to start going on the coals, and you hear that pss, 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 and that turns into beautiful little spurts of smoke, and that's what's going to give it that colour and flavour as well.
My big shawarma will need to cook for about an hour. Small individual ones will be much quicker. So I'm going to make a zesty tabbouleh while I wait.
This is the thing I love about cooking outdoors. You can see it, you can smell it, and we can kind of bring the rest of the meal together as we do it. So, tabbouleh, a classic, really simple to make. Of course, it's based around herbs. So we've got a nice wodge here of parsley and mint. I've cooked some bulgur wheat here. You can get it in all the supermarkets. It's just cracked wheat. You just boil it, follow the packet instructions, a little bit of salt, and you're laughing. And then while it's been drained and still at room temperature, we can dress that with beautiful things. So rip the parsley off, finely slice these herbs. Beautiful. Essentially what I've created here is a kebab shop, my very own kebab shop. We've got some spring onions here. Just line them up. Just a couple of tomatoes. Take the seeds out of the tomatoes. You don't have to do that, but it's quite nice. Use 2 or 3, depending on their size. Nice ripe ones really helps. All we have to do now, is add a little special ingredient. Get down the supermarket and find some beautiful preserved lemons. I'm just going to quarter them and remove any pips. It's got an incredible fragrance. And for the whole time that you're eating it, you're going, what's that? It's got kind of like a fizzy sweetness about it, a perfume. Look at the gorgeous colours. Green, yellow, red. Yes, of course, you can do that in a food processor. It would take 10 seconds to do it, but that's not what today's all about. We're going to push all of that here to the bulgur wheat. In with some great olive oil, cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil. I'm putting about 5 or 6 tablespoons to start off with. And then I'm going to just splash in 1 or 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar. A nice little pinch of salt. And then just mix this all around. It's going to be so good. There is a beautiful homemade tabbouleh. Now just look at the meat, you can see it changing colour now, getting very exciting. So while that's going on, pickles.
To add some tang, I'm going to make 3 quick pickles to scatter over the kebab. 1 with sliced up crunchy radishes, salt and a splash of red wine vinegar. 1 with sticks of sweet beetroot, salt, vinegar and a glug of olive oil. And 1 with sliced red onion, salt, coriander and lemon juice, so it's got a kick, but it isn't fiery hot. With all my extras done and the meat now perfectly cooked and golden, I just need to roll out my individual flatbreads.
We've got a lovely old dough. Get a little rolling pin and just push it out. We want it to be about 1 centimetre thick. Delicate, simple. So let's cook it. Look, 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 see? Whoa! There you go. Bubbles of joy. Okay, chaps, it's that time. Honestly, this is like a dream.
To serve, kiss the flatbread with hummus. Add a sprinkle of tabbouleh. Some dabs of amber sauce.
Let's get those gorgeous bits of charred meat.
And top with some of the pickles.
And that will be a kebab like you've never had before.
Then wrap it up and give in to pleasure.
Oh my Lord. Pickles, charred meat, all those layers of flavour, all wrapped up in that lovely flatbread. fantastic. Why don't you give it a go? You'll love it. I love cooking steak. I think we always get excited about it. Everyone in the family loves it. And as much as I love steak and chips, and we always will, like, what more is there? What other vibes rock with that incredible piece of meat? I'm kind of going to North Africa, sort of Moorish flavours. This is a great little dish that I'm doing for me and Jules. A nice little sharing steak with couscous, beautiful tomatoes, artichokes, and I've got some flavours in there that are just gonna pop. So this is steak, but with a little bit of a difference. Now, we're gonna start with the couscous. Me and my mob love this. I've seen lots of people get worried about it being sticky or overcooking it and it goes quite stodgy. Look, the simplest thing in the world is go in with the couscous, right? That's just like a little cup for two of us. A nice bunch of mint for this dish. Grab the stalks, twist it off, and that will infuse straight into the couscous. I've got some boiling water, and all I have to do is just cover the couscous. That is it. And then I put a lid on top, leave that for 12 to 15 minutes, and just let that plump up. It could not be simpler. Right, the steak. Look at this. Absolutely beautiful. A nice sirloin steak. It's about an inch thick. Often when you go to the supermarket, they'll pre-portion steaks for you. If you want to get that really gorgeous and brown on the outside and blushing or medium on the inside, it's really hard. Go for one really thick steak for two people. It will taste much better. It will be more tender because of the way that you cook it. I'm going to season this quite generously with black pepper, so to create almost like a bark. Nice sea salt on top like that. Press it in. And then move this around. This will not only season it and flavour it, but also kind of protect it a little bit as well. Because we're going to go straight onto the hot part of the barbie. That'll start sizzling and be beautiful. So let's flip the board. You could do this in a pan. I would start on the fat side for about 3 minutes. Let that fat go brown, golden and render, and then just put it over, let it fry, put it over, let it fry. So whether you do it inside or outside, it's all good. Look at that. Oh, the dancing fat is beautiful. It's going to be heavenly, but there's more. Get a pan on. I quite like using pans on a barbecue. It means you can do extra little jobs. You can fry things off, you can dress things, you can even steam or boil if you want to. So there's more flavours that I'm taking from Morocco. Nice almonds. Just a little handful. By toasting them, you're going to get more nuttiness. Now, the almonds are basically a texture, a flavour. OK, couscous going, steak on. To go with it, lovely sweet cherry tomatoes. So take your tomatoes and just half them. Keep an eye on that steak. I want to cook that medium rare. Jules likes it medium, so I'll go for that. But nice and blushing, nice and juicy. When the nuts here are nice and toasted, get that steak off. Look at that. Sizzling away. The resting juices will come out. At the same time, just a little bit of honey. And the honey will mix with the juices and create a gorgeous sauce. And then those lovely almonds that we've toasted, sprinkle over the top. So let that rest away nicely, and then go in with the veggies. I want to use a maybe more unusual vegetable, artichokes, and this will be beautiful with the couscous and the tomatoes. And some people get freaked out by how to prep them and peel them and take the heart out. Look, if you get them in a jar, they're done for you. They're amazing. You can have them like that, raw, or we can cook them. Take some of the oil that comes with these lovely artichokes, put half a jar of the artichokes in the pan, and we'll start building up the most amazing flavour for the veggies. If you've never had artichokes before, they're absolutely delicious. There's one ingredient here that will completely transform this, preserved lemons. Now, you can get these in supermarkets, and they're an odd little ingredient, but these are small lemons that have the most incredible fragrance, and they're so delicious. If I cut it in half, can you see they're quite seedy? But don't judge these little fellas by their small size and their seediness, because the flavour is amazing. It's like an ultra lemon. Get rid of these seeds, finely slice, and then sprinkle that in with the artichokes. Now you can see the artichokes getting really nicely crisp, which is gorgeous. Look at that. Then the tomatoes. Sweet, fragrant. One final flourish with the veggies. If we go back to the beginning of the story where we used the mint stalks in the couscous, pick off all the mint leaves. That mint flavour is delicious. We love it with roast lamb. Maybe more unusual with the steak, but honey, mint, fragrant, funk with the lemon, really popping flavours and really popping colour as well. It's really fast and really beautiful. So, in with the mint, and that will just wilt down. Then let's have a look at our couscous. Got the mint stalks here. That can go. Lovely compost. Let's fork it up. And that's light and fresh. Look at that. Really, really nice. So, we are all ready to rock and roll. Let me just put it here for 1 second. Couscous, veg done, steak is rested nicely. Now, on this steak, there's this little bit of fat here and sinew, which is always tough and never a pleasure. Cut that off, and as soon as I've done that, then slice it up. Nice, blushing. That's how Jules likes it, medium. What's quite nice about when you do a medium steak is you can get the nice blushing bit on the inside for you, and then I can give the missus the well done bit on the outside, so she's happy. We've got all of these incredible juices here as well, look at that. And if I just pour that over the steak, that's pretty special. Really nice, sweet resting juices and the nuts. Let's plate it up now. Couscous, for us at home, is a really good staple. Jules is always using it for the kids at least once a week. Look at that. The colours of the tomatoes and the artichokes are amazing. And I'm going to put half of it on, like that. Add a little bed for our steak and lay that over the top. So we've got steak, we've got the nuts, we've got the veg on the bottom. You know, the juices will all go into each other. And look, the great thing about the couscous is it's soaking up all of those juices and flavours. And then the veggies. Look at that, full of colour, excitement, amazing flavours. I'm really looking forward to tucking into that. Let's have a little try. Come on. I don't want to ruin it. Let's get this little bit here. Get some couscous, some tomato, a little bit of the old mint there. The sweetness of the honey, the lemon's there. Of course, the steak is just gorgeous and tender. That just feels like a really vivacious, exciting, delicious meal. So come on, let's serve it up. I love a beautiful roast dinner as much as the next person, but this £1 wonder is going to blow your mind. It's a feast, it's something different, it's exciting, it's a real kind of celebration dish, but with not much time and hardly any ingredients, you are going to get flavours and textures like you can't believe. My Ducker roast lamb feast is sublime, and it has not one but two brilliant hacks to ramp up flavour, and I know you're going to love it. So look at this, a beautiful leg of local lamb, about 2 to 2.5 kilos in weight. Then, to flavour it, I've got a fantastic little spice blend. This, my friends, is called Ducker. So this is an Egyptian spice blend with nuts and seeds. And what's brilliant about this is you get things like coriander seeds, fennel seeds, cumin, spices galore, nuts like hazelnuts and sesame seeds, and it smells amazing. So one jar, loads of flavour. So all of this Ducker will go into my pestle and mortar, like that. About 50 grams or so. Get your pestle and just grind it up. Hello, Conker. How are you doing, boy? The old Conker's ears are perking up because he can smell the food already. So we're going to create a kind of marinade cum paste to rub all over that. We need 4 cloves of garlic. Just take the ends off and we'll peel those into our ducker like this. Just pound it up to a paste. It takes a matter of seconds. 2 tablespoons of olive oil goes in, the same amount of red wine vinegar. And then we're going to take some salt and some pepper. That, my friends, is a fast track to flavour. And I have a very simple preparation. Simply get the leg of lamb. Think of the bone like a skewer on a kebab. You get a knife and you go all the way down to the bone. And then we'll do little kind of 2-centimetre gaps, just like that. Right to the bone. It's going to have almost like layered kebab vibes. So I do that on one side, right down to the bone. And it makes the cooking really, really quick. So we love that. More flavour, more texture, and faster to cook. So then we'll go in with this lovely paste. And then get in there with your hands. The smells are amazing. I want to serve some veggies with it. It's a £1 wonder, so I don't want lots of pots and pans. So in this tray, I'm going to do some aubergines. All I'm going to do is just stab it with a little knife so they don't explode. And in the cooking, I've got a couple of really great tips for you. So the oven is preheated to 240 degrees Celsius, which is 450 Fahrenheit. I put the aubergines in the tray on the bottom, and then I put the lovely leg of lamb, right, over the tray. The genius is you get 360-degree roasting of the lamb. It gets gnarly and gorgeous. All the juices drip down onto the aubergines, making them the best aubergines ever. It's gonna be so, so tasty. So, 45 minutes of cooking, and then I'll show you what to do next. Can't cook. So, lamb and aubergines roasting for 45 minutes. This is big flavour, feasting food, but it's low maintenance, and it's a classic £1 wonder. Now, we want little kind of swoops of colour and salsa and stuff like that. So first, beautiful pickled chilies. I've got some feta, and I'm going to make a kind of sauce that you can drizzle over your beautiful lamb and your aubergines, and then herbs galore. So, a feta sauce. Get your lovely feta. About 100 grams goes into your pestle and mortar. Just pound it up, and it goes smooth. Then, if you've got some of those juices from the pack, you can pour that back in. If you haven't got it, it doesn't matter, use water. But you basically keep letting it down until you get a nice spoonable sauce. And also you can get flavour from the jars of pickled chilies. Add a little tang and fire. And you make the simplest, most delicious, refreshing sauce ever. You want it to be nice and sort of spoonable, look at that. And what I'm gonna do now is break it with olive oil. So that is done, and we're gonna go big on herbs. Mint and parsley, really good. Essentially what I'm trying to make at home is my own little family version of a kebab, right? And I know you can go down the shop and get lovely kebabs, but this is at home, it's a different vibe. This lamb smells absolutely incredible. Whoa! You can see the flavours dripping down. Amazing. Right, what we've got is dark, gnarly meat that's delicious, flavour to the bone. Just look at that. And with the aubergines, what did we do? Prick them and throw them in the tray. That's it. But all the goodness from that rained down on here, and as you cut it open, you can see that it's soft and delicious. A little salt and pepper and a little olive oil, and then vinegar. Then we go in with a bunch of our herbs. And this will become a lovely kind of warm aubergine salad. And then we'll take our lamb and let it continue resting like that. Come on. We've got all the sticky bits in the pan. Outrageous flavour there, waiting to happen. I'm just going to put a little water in here and just enough to dissolve the sticky bits, right? So I'll put that on a little low heat, bring it to a boil. Now, the last thing I've got to do is just reheat these beautiful flatbreads. You can get these in the supermarket. They're super convenient. You can make your own if you want. So in they go. So this is when I would get kind of pickles galore in and around the board, herbs as well, and a little bit of that feta sauce around and about. Olive oil. So let me get those flatbreads because they'll be ready. Pull them out. They don't need hardly any time to reheat. I've got the juices here. Come on. Big flavour. And then you pick up the bone, almost like it's a kebab, and we start to carve it. But of course, those cuts that you made give you this incredible cross-section. Look at that. As you cut into the lamb, it just looks so luscious. It's juicy, it's blushing. So look, that is what I meant when I said I'm treating the bone like the skewer. So let's get a flatbread. Some of these amazing aubergines. Lovely pops of herbs. Love that. Throw in a couple of chilies. Go on, look at that. I'll take some of that feta sauce, fresh and tangy, and then some of those beautiful bits of meat. And then don't forget, of course, you've got this little bit of gravy, and that will make all the difference. You just got to roll it up. Let's cut it in half. Gorgeous. Wow. This is so good. The lamb is just wonderful. It's so full of flavour. And that clever little feta sauce just kind of gives a kiss of freshness. So, so good. And that, my friends, is a £1 wonder. And my kids are going to love that.
Yeah, wait.
Look at that.
Whoa.
So grab the aubergine, whack that on your flatbread. The white sauce is feta cheese. No, River, don't wear the bread as a scarf.
Wow, this is lovely. Looks amazing.
How is it, Buds?
It's great.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's really tender. It's really crispy on the outside. And having like the mint and parsley on top makes it really fresh.
How much food has River got around his face? Pies that I know. First and foremost, we've got to get the filling done. I've got 3 onions here, peeled and sliced, OK? So that's in a pan with a little olive oil, salt and pepper. I want a sprig of rosemary. And then I've got 3 cloves of garlic. Just grate it on a grater. Or you could slice it up, but it's quite nice, I think. Or you could use one of those funny little garlic presses. So that goes into there. Like that. Mix it in. And at this point, I want a nice knob of butter. About 2 ounces. Straight in. While it's melting, I've got 2 sticks of celery that I've just finely sliced. 2 carrots, peeled and sliced. Mushrooms. Just slice them up. Don't use button mushrooms, because I hate them. Field mushrooms, portobello mushrooms, and you can kind of break them up in your hands a little bit as well. Good flavour. And then over here, I've got some brisket of beef. I've got inch dice of brisket of beef, and straight in there. So, at this point, we're just about there. A big pinch of pepper, a big pinch of salt, and then 1 can, just under a pint, of Guinness. Just going to pour that in. Guinness and red meat is genius. And I just want to stir in a heaped tablespoon of flour, and that's just to give it an element of body and thickness. All I have to do now is just get a little bit of water or beef stock and just top that up just a little bit so you can see the meat, but it's not covering it. Lid goes on. I'm going to put that in an oven at 180 degrees Celsius or 350 Fahrenheit, just to let all the flavours mix up. And you're going to get a really nice, robust stew, perfect either for a stew or for a filling. Right, this stew's been in for about 2 hours. Let's have a little look. What you really want for a perfect pie filling is a reasonably dry stew inside. If it's too wet, there's just going to be stock and juice pouring everywhere. So I'm going to leave that there, and I want to get into pastry mode. I'm cheating, because I'm actually going to use a pre-bought puff pastry. And when you go to supermarkets now, you can get all butter, pre-packed, pre-made puff pastry. And to be honest, I can't think of a situation where I'd ever make my own puff pastry. It's a right palaver. It needs quite a bit of experience and time to do it. So I'm just going to get it out onto there. And I want to just cut off a third of it, just like that, for my lid. And then I want a little bit of flour. And this is an opportunity really to sort of go over some real basics of rolling. And when I was taught to do it, I was always taught to roll in front of you. So not sort of go like this or like that. Just move the pastry around to suit you and keep it lightly dusted so it's not going to stick. And I want to get this pastry rolled out to about 3 millimetres thick. Oh, nearly did it then. You nearly caught me. My old pastry teacher would kill me for that. Right, so we're there. All I want to do is take the pastry to one side, get my lovely dish, let the sides in here, like that, and have the excess hanging over. Now, once you've done that, we can start thinking about filling this little baby. On the cheese front, I've got 100 grams of cheddar cheese stirred into the stew. And all I want to do now is get this filling in here, like this. Look at that. Every last bit of it. And then very importantly, you want another 100 grams of cheese, or another handful, on the top. There you go. And that just makes a little cap on the top. And then, with this little bit of pastry, very quickly roll out your lid. You don't need it to be massive, you just need it to cover the exposed stew, really. And you can have it a little bit thicker. Crack an egg in there. First and foremost, I want to get my egg wash and just brush it around the outside here. And what this is going to do is going to kind of give you a nice seal between the lid of the pastry and the bottom of the pastry. And of course, that's just going to help to hold in all the juices and hold in the steam and the flavour. And then, as far as this lid's concerned, just score it lightly with a knife in a crisscross fashion, about 1 centimetre apart. It's not just to make it look pretty, actually. When the puff pastry cooks and it starts to puff up, it goes different directions and you kind of have more crispy bits. And it's like the best bit some ways. So just score that across like that. Egg wash this now. And then I'm going to pick this up and put this straight over the pie. And then with these bits, just pull them back over and crinkle this up. And absolutely, if you were taught officially in college to do this, you'd have been told to clean off the excess and crimp the sides. And I'm like, well, I don't want to throw away any stuff. I don't want to waste any stuff. People are always fighting over the pastry. Plus, I think it makes it look nice and rustic. Quaff it all up like that. And look at that. That is a beautiful pie. I'm now going to put that in the oven, back at 180, 350 Fahrenheit. And I'll cook that for about 40 minutes or until bubbling and golden. And that is a good one. Right, I've got some nice frozen peas, dare I say it. Frozen peas are fantastic, actually. Toss in some butter, and that is it. My pie's had about 40 minutes in here. Have a look at that. Beautiful. Let's serve this little baby up. Go on, right over the top. Wow, beautiful. Lovely people, we are gonna make the most incredible mac and cheese. I've got a recipe for you that's gonna blow your mind. You interested? Let's do this. First up, a nice big knob of butter into a pan. Finely slice 3 of these onions. As the butter comes up to the heat, 15 minutes to make these onions go sweet and gorgeous. Medium-high heat, a stir every now and again, beautiful. So after 15 minutes, you can see the onions have shrunk back down. It's lightly golden. So I'll take 3 tablespoons of flour, and that's our thickening agent to turn our milk into a silky, gorgeous sauce. And that will immediately suck up all of the moisture from the onions. And then I've got a litre of milk. So slowly, slowly, we'll add that milk. As soon as it's absorbed, we'll add some more. So the rest of the milk goes in, and we're gonna let that simmer while we cook the pasta. So of course, we're using macaroni. I'm only gonna cook this for 5 minutes. I wanna half cook the pasta and then let this simmer while we get onto the other flavorings of this sauce. So when it comes to choosing the cheese, you could do one, of course you could, but I wanna do it my style, right? I want that balance of flavor, depth of flavor, and stringiness, ooziness. 100 grams of cheddar. Now that's a good flavor and a good melter. Then we're gonna go to a really stringy, gorgeous cheese. So this is a raclette, but you could absolutely use a lovely Gruyere. 100 grams goes in like that. And then Parmesan. I'll do that on a finer side. And Parmesan just has that amazing ability to join up flavors, make it all make sense. Now let's just talk about nutrition. This is not a green dish, but it is one of the most beautiful things ever. But also, as indulgent as this is, it's a brilliant carrier of seasonal veggies. So lovely fresh or frozen peas, bang, amazing. Getting asparagus in there, fantastic. Handful of spinach. But today, we're keeping it really simple. And this pasta has had nearly 5 minutes. Get into this pasta water and steal some of this starchy water, and we might need that later. We've only half cooked the pasta, and there's good reason for that, because when it carries on its journey of cooking, it's sucking up that flavor, not water. So I'll get that in, and I'll save back just a little bit for on top later. A teaspoon of English mustard gives it an amazing color and gentle heat. A little hack of a friend of mine that they swore by. And I tried it, and I did it as a blind taste because I swore that it wouldn't work, and it did. Mango chutney, 1 teaspoon. Slightly strange, but go with it. We're gonna add a little bit of this starchy water to get ooziness and silkiness. So it's really important to do this off the heat. We don't wanna be boiling cheese. At this point in the story, we go in with our macaroni, give it a nice little toss up. Oh, I'm excited, and I forgot one seasoning. Of course, Worcestershire sauce. A good couple of little swigs in there, and we are good to go. We're gonna take this gorgeous, silky, pasta-y goodness. Look at that. So that goes in the oven for half an hour at 200 degrees Celsius, which is 400 Fahrenheit. Now, what I wanna do to make it even better is contrast that creamy, cheesy gorgeousness. So we're gonna make a pan grattata. Bacon, herb, garlic, what's not to love? As it starts to get lightly golden, that is your cue to put the breadcrumbs in. And these flavored breadcrumbs are like a gift on a simple pasta dish, even lovely stews, amazing. These breadcrumbs have gone golden and crunchy. They smell amazing. Come on, half an hour. Oh, look at that. Come on. Mac and cheese, beautifulness. Crack. Come on. You know it makes sense. A few beautiful salad leaves. The ultimate smoky bacon. Crispy bits. Enough talking, let's just eat it. That's what we want. Nice cheesy bits. Like the depth of flavour is off the hook. One of the things I like to do, which is my own personal problem, is to take a vulnerable, empty gem lettuce leaf and then load it with mac and cheese. And I actually do this at home, and my kids are around the table, and they're just looking at me going, you are such an idiot, you are like... But then, when they try it, they realise that I'm a missionary, trying to make the world a better place through mac and cheese. Don't judge me. I say no more, but click the link and cook it, you'll love it. So I've got a perfect recipe for this weekend, meat and potatoes. 2 best friends. This is a match made in heaven.
This knockout rack of lamb with a feisty pistachio and parsley crust, served with a luxurious potato al forno, is as big on flavour as it is easy to cook.
First up, the potato dish. Let's start with that.
Into a large pan, pour 600 millilitres of milk and 400 millilitres of double cream. Then throw in 3 or 4 bay leaves, a couple of sprigs of rosemary, a pinch of pepper and salt, and 6 anchovy fillets.
It will give you the most incredible depth of flavour that you won't want to be without.
Grate in half a nutmeg. Then you want to add 8 cloves of garlic.
Yes, you heard it right. 8 cloves of garlic. Pongy, gorgeous garlic. This is the dish to do it, guys.
Bring it to a light simmer on a medium heat while you finely slice a kilo of potatoes.
This potato dish is one of my favourite potato dishes ever.
Next, slice up 2 bulbs of fennel and 2 onions.
So let's have a little look at that. We don't want to just boil and boil and boil it. It's an infusion, just to get the party started.
Fish out the rosemary and the bay leaves. Grate in about 50 grams of parmesan, then add the potatoes, fennel and onions to the pan. And even if it's a bit messy, it's okay. Mix it all together, then pack it down.
I'm just going to do a nice final layer of potatoes on top. There's no reason to do this other than it just kind of looks cute.
Cover with tin foil and then whack it in the oven and bake at 180 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit for an initial half an hour. Next, the lamb. 1 rack feeds 2 people.
Rack of lamb. It is the prime cut on the whole animal. Absolutely beautiful.
Ask your butcher for a French trimmed rack of lamb with the cap meat removed and the sinews trimmed off. But if you get one that's still got a top layer of fat, it's easy to trim that off yourself.
I want this rack of lamb to be so tender, so melt in your mouth, nothing should get in the way of it, right? Because we're going to put a lovely crust on top of here. And I don't want to chew on anything. I want it to be tender, tender, tender.
Put a little olive oil and butter into a hot pan. Season the lamb with salt and pepper and sear for a few minutes.
The rack of lamb is seared golden, but it's completely raw inside. And then what I want to do is the most unbelievable crust.
Into a food processor, drop 100 grams of pistachios with a bunch of flat leaf parsley. Tear in 75 grams of bread, 2 cloves of garlic, and grate in half a nutmeg.
Lid on and wazz it all up.
While that's going, smear the lamb racks generously with Dijon mustard.
Don't worry, it's going to mellow out in the cooking. It's going to really make this dish. Don't be stingy, because it sticks this crust together and it gives you the most incredible flavour.
Pile the herby crumb onto the lamb and press down to form a crust. Meanwhile, take the foil off the spuds, give them another grate of parmesan on top if you fancy, and put them back into the oven and bake for a further 45 minutes. 10 minutes later, put the lamb into the same oven. It'll need 25 minutes to cook and 10 to rest, so the spuds and the meat will be ready at the same time.
Right, little clean down, glass of wine, and then I'll show you how to serve it up. So the lamb has been out just resting, so all the juices can kind of go back to where they came from. It's looking beautiful. What I like to do is just put a rack, just like that, on a board and let people kind of slice their own at the table. Look at the colour. Really, really nice. And then from the oven, we want our potato and fennel al forno. Serve it sizzling, just like that.
Garnish with fennel tops, then dish up with a side of green beans.
Let's get in there with the lamb. And of course, the point of the lamb is with that sauce from the potatoes. Just tender. So good.
Gorgeous pink lamb with a wonderful green crust, served with garlicky, fennel-y potato al forno. This is a proper little gem for the weekend.
The guys in the cafe are gonna go nuts at that. Cheers. Enjoy. My job and Christian's job today with you is give you the kind of points to incredible. I'm talking about the flavour, the pickles, the bun, the juice. Do you like it kind of like all held together, or do you like it kind of steamy and juicy and sort of fall in between your fingers?
Falling apart, man. You want that juice to break down and just kind of get all, you want it dripping off your fingers.
Honestly, burgers aren't just burgers anymore. There's a new level set. So first up, let's talk about the meat. Now, this is chuck steak. Go to your butchers and ask him for chuck steak. It's got incredible flavour, an amazing mix of fat, isn't
It's the classic meat for a classic burger.
And notice, no flavouring, no herbs, no seasoning. We're treating it like a steak. Divide it into 4. So that's 800 grams here, that's 200 gram patties. You want to make your patties just a bit bigger than the bun because you will get some shrinkage.
And you want to press it enough just so it holds together, but you don't want to over press it where it becomes too dense. You want holes in there so when that fat kind of breaks down, it just flavors all that beautiful meat. There's my imperfect perfection right there, a little bit of jagged.
So kind of perfect is not perfect. Imperfect
It's perfect.
But of course, it's not just about the burger. You need all the extras. I'm making 2 pickles. One, simply with a few crinkle-cut gherkins and a little bit of chilli.
The chilies in there are kind of a nice bonus.
Plus a second with finely sliced red onion, white wine vinegar and a pinch of salt. Just let them marinate.
Pickles are kind of important, aren't they?
They are.
You know, that sweetness, that saltiness, that tang.
This is the taste of my summers in Iowa. My grandma used to do this with onions, that kind of vinegar, and cucumbers.
What was your childhood then? Around a barbecue?
It was around a barbecue. My dad taught me to barbecue from the age of 8, and we would just do this. Burgers and the onions
Steaks.
and the vinegars and steaks.
Chicken.
And make his grandpa's secret sauce. Are you doing a secret sauce?
Well, I'm going to do a bit of a J sauce.
Okay.
This is basically harking back to days in the 80s when I was living in the pub. So I've got 2 heaped tablespoons of mayo, 1 tablespoon of ketchup. Worcestershire sauce, important. Just a little swig or 2 of that. There is a new discovery, Tabasco, but Chipotle
yeah.
Tabasco. Okay.
It's smoky, kind of hot flavor, man.
Oh my God.
I love this
The
stuff.
Chipotle rocks. And then a little swig, a little tinkle of bourbon. Okay. You could use brandy, but bourbon feels good.
That was a tinkle of bourbon right there.
Was that all right?
That was a good amount, man.
Sometimes it's nice to put a little lemon juice in there to give it some tang. Sometimes you can steal a little bit of vinegar from over there, bro. Go on.
Yeah.
And just a tiny dribble of your onion vinegar. I like it. I like it.
It's good.
I'm going to hit it up with more Tabasco.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, that's what it needs.
One of the things that really we learned from American fast food, they'll have iceberg through that. I've been really anti-iceberg for a long, long time.
Thanks for coming back.
I've come back. Bit of compost.
You're welcome, Earth.
When it kind of gets dressed in that, the crunch does go, but not totally. It's kind of like half soft, half crunchy. And this, for me, is really the perfect base to kind of welcome the burger.
I'm nicking this, dude. This is a really good
Yeah, you
recipe.
happy about this?
Yeah, really good. Let's do it. Let's get grilling.
Pat the burgers with oil, then season with salt and pepper.
And actually, 2 at a time is a nice number, I think, if you're going to really take care of it. You can see already, like, the fat starting to cinder off, hit the coals, and that sort of pelting smoke back up and kissing the meat. This is what barbecue's all about.
Yeah, it is.
Whether it's charcoal or wood.
Well, there's flavor in the fuel down there. There's flavor in the wood and the charcoal. So there's all these layers of flavors, not just the meat and the seasoning, but the fuel.
And you wouldn't get that from a fry pan.
No.
Or an oven or a grill.
Or gas grill.
Absolutely. Is that your enemy, gas grill?
Man, that's sacrilege. It's like, why come outside?
There's kind of an interesting procedure that can give you an incredibly succulent, juicy burger. You go and get the American-style mustard, and we go get a paintbrush, sear one side of the burger, and then we turn it. And then that seared side, we brush, and then we sear the mustard seared side, and then we brush the other side. So we do 2 normal cooks, and then 2 mustard cooks. And that creates a pretty special burger. This is going to create a lovely, sweet and kind of hummy, gorgeous mustard bark. So now we just got to wait, guys.
That's cool.
My friend, can you possibly pass me the bacon? It ain't bacon unless it's smoked bacon. For me, that's like the best sight in cooking, when the fat's doing that and you just know you're caramelizing and creating flavor. Sometimes good things can't be rushed, you know? Now, I've got some cheese. So I just want 2 nice slices. I'm using red Leicester.
I dubbed thee King of the Grill.
This British cheese has a lovely nutty flavour, but you can use any cheese you fancy as long as it's a good tasty melter.
This is a really important stage now in the perfection of the burger. Now just look around. We got burger, it's on its last stage, okay? And Christian's spinning a bowl. And now
Oh, it's like a,
we put the dome over.
yeah.
Okay, so we're trapping smoke. Also, this is going to get hot. Like, I can't put my hand on it anymore. Okay, so that's turning into an oven. And it's just going to let that cheese just kind of like melt, just sag. But also, look, the bacon's looking very, very beautiful. So I'm just going to pop this little dome off.
It's already starting to do its magic,
You can see
man.
it starting to do its magic. And I'm just going to pop the bacon on top.
Seriously, that is gorgeous.
In that pan is amazing smoky bacon fat.
You're not going there with the
I am.
rolls, are you?
I am.
You are next level, bro.
This is a brioche bun. Nice, soft, spongy to sort of suck up all the juices that rest out of the burger.
Look at it, perfect. Dude, a tear trickles down the side of my cheek right now. That's how happy I am. Tears of joy.
Now for that special moment, the build.
The sauce and the lettuce. That's the first welcoming to the party. The thing is, I want to put more, but you've got to restrain yourself when it comes to the perfect equation of the perfect burger. So just take it to the edge.
It's the right balance, man. You want everything to sing. You want all, it's a band. That burger is a band, and you gotta have the drummer, you gotta have the guitar player, and that's the lead singer right there.
The mustard bark, zingy, crunchy pickles, tomato ketchup on that toasted brioche dipped in bacon fat. It's all those little details that make this burger perfect.
I like how that red Leicester is just properly just coated it. That little gap right there with the cheese coming through, that little cavern of cheese just going, oh.
I think we have to just eat it now.
Okay.
Can I get you prepared?
Yeah, prepare me for the ridiculousness that I'm gonna feast upon.
Okay, arms up.
Are you excited?
Are you?
I'm excited, dude.
Me too.
3, 2, 1, mange. Oh, wow.
It's so good.
That is amazing. Bacon just sends it off. And then you can taste that kind of, the mustard goes a bit sweet in there.
It's all right to eat messy, yeah? I mean,
You're supposed to eat messy.
you don't want to have a polite burger.
No.
That's boring.
What are you, a wuss?